Hey friends, greetings. This is CA Fenil Shah, and today we are going to discuss the provisions with respect to chapter number 7 of the Companies Act 2013, and that is with respect to management and administration of a company. Friends, when you see this particular chapter, it has two main concepts. One is with respect to the different types of registers which a company needs to maintain. From examination perspective, that concept is not that much important. But the another concept which is very important in the chapter is with respect to meetings which are being convened by the company. Now friends, let us have an understanding that what I mean to say by meetings. Now in a company, there are more than one person involved, that we all know. Now whenever they want to come at any conclusion, they have to pass a resolution. How they pass a resolution? First they discuss, then they agree at a consensus, and then they pass a resolution. So the place where they pass a resolution or the way they pass a resolution is known as meetings. And there are different types of meetings. The meetings can be meetings of board of directors, the meeting can be meeting of members, the meeting can be of creditors, the meeting can be of debenture holders, the meeting can be also convened many times by the tribunal. But at this juncture, let me clarify that at the intermediate level. So friends, always bear in mind that when we are discussing and when I'm talking of meetings, we are talking of meeting of members, that is shareholders, and not the directors of the company. बिकॉज फ्रेंड्स जो डायरेक्टर्स की मीटिंग होती है उसे हम बोर्ड मीटिंग कहते हैं. बोर्ड मीटिंग के प्रोविजंस है वो सेक्शन 173 ऑनवर्ड जाते हैं, जो हमारे सिलेबस जो इंटरमीडिएट के सिलेबस में नहीं है. सो फ्रेंड्स ये एक चीज का ध्यान रखें. एंड फ्रेंड्स ये मीटिंग के जो प्रोविजन है वो एकदम अच्छी तरीके से करके जाइए, बिकॉज व्हेन यू डिस्कस ऑफ मीटिंग, राइट, इन एग्जामिनेशन द प्रोविजंस ऑफ मीटिंग्स आर बीइंग आस्क्ड एट अ वेरी हाई लेवल. एंड इफ यू आर क्लियर विद द कॉन्सेप्ट्स ऑफ मीटिंग्स, then it will also help you to understand the other concepts of Companies Act 2013. So friends, now let us move towards this particular chapter, that is chapter number 7. And for our understanding, I have broken up the chapter into two parts, as you can see. The very first is the registers and returns, and the second part is with respect to meetings. In registers and returns, we are going to discuss that which different types of register of members, register of debenture holders are required to be maintained every year. Company needs to file annual return, not income tax return, annual return to ROC. तो उसके provisions हम discuss करेंगे किसके अंदर, पार्ट ए के अंदर. एंड नीचे जो आप देख रहे हो पार्ट बी, that is with respect to meetings, in which we will see the meetings which are convened by company, and in that also very specifically we will look at the provisions with respect to meeting of shareholders, with respect to meeting of members, and that too in that two different type of meetings will come. One is annual general meeting and another is extraordinary general meeting. Plus friends, before we move towards the chapter, let me clarify that from this particular chapter, if it's possible, then you remember all these sections. But if it's not possible for you to remember all these sections, then not to worry. But my request is that पार्ट बी के अंदर जो मीटिंग के प्रोविजंस है, उस मीटिंग के प्रोविजंस के सेक्शंस आप याद रखना, वो आपको आंसर लिखने में बहुत हेल्पफुल रहेंगे. एंड व्हाई आई एम इंसिस्टिंग यू दैट यू रिमेंबर द सेक्शंस विद रिस्पेक्ट टू मीटिंग, देन द रीजन इज, अगर आप मीटिंग के सेक्शंस याद रखोगे तो मीटिंग के प्रोविजंस ऑलमोस्ट दूसरे हर एक आंसर में आते हैं. तो जब आप लिखते हो, राइट, तो अगर आप प्रोविजन के साथ सेक्शन नंबर लिखोगे तो इट विल क्रिएट अ वैल्यू एडेड इंपैक्ट. लेट मी क्लैरिफाई. मुझे मीटिंग के सेक्शंस याद नहीं है और मैं दूसरे कोई प्रोविजन का आंसर लिख रहा हूं, तो मैं क्या लिखूंगा? कंपनी और एंड इन दैट प्रोविजन देयर वाज अ रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ पासिंग अ स्पेशल रिजोल्यूशन. तो हाउ आई विल राइट? कंपनी टू सेंड द नोटिस of meeting to all the shareholders of the company to convene meeting, and company to pass a special resolution, company to prepare minutes under section 118. ऐसा मैं लिखूंगा. बट फ्रेंड्स, मान लो कि मुझे मीटिंग्स के सेक्शंस याद है और अब मैं दूसरे कोई प्रोविजन का आंसर लिख रहा हूं, तो हाउ इट विल साउंड? कंपनी टू सर्व the notice of general meeting in pursuance of section 101 of the Companies Act 2013. Company to convene meeting, company to pass special resolution, company to prepare minutes under section 118 of the act. और फ्रेंड्स आप समझ सकते हो मैंने पहले जो आंसर कहा और अभी जो आंसर कर रहा हूं दोनों में देयर इज अ वास्ट डिफरेंस. व्हाट इज दैट वास्ट डिफरेंस? वर देयर एक्स्ट्रा इनपुट्स बीइंग गिवन? नो. खाली मैंने मेरे आंसर में मीटिंग्स के सेक्शंस को ऐड किया एंड माय आंसर लुक्ड लाइक वेरी वैल्यू एडिटिव. So that's a charm, that's a miracle, friends, you can create while presenting your answer, provided you remember the sections which are associated with the meetings wala chapter. So that's how I personally requested that if possible, make some extra effort to remember the sections which are associated with part B meetings of this particular chapter 7 of your intermediate syllabus. Yes, friends, so now we are moving towards the second part of the chapter, that is meetings. Now, friends, when we are going to discuss the provisions with respect to meetings, we will discuss three things. The very first is all the provisions with respect to annual general meeting. The second will be all the provisions with respect to extraordinary general meeting, and then we will discuss all the procedural aspects with respect to meeting. What is the meaning of some procedural aspects? Then first we are discussing the legal requirements with respect to AGM and EGM. After that, we will discuss that may it be AGM or may it be EGM. Certain things are there which are general. To say, to convene a meeting, notice is required to be served. So how notice is to be served? To convene a meeting and to start a meeting, a quorum is required. Whether proxy can be appointed or not, how proxy to be appointed, in which way resolutions can be passed, which are the different types of resolutions, how minutes needs to be prepared, can we restrict the voting rights of the shareholders? Friends, all these things we will discuss in the third part of this part B, that is the general requirements with respect to convening, arranging, concluding and reporting with respect to meetings. So friends, when we are discussing this part B, as you can see, that is with respect to meetings, we will be discussing in three different parts. One is all the legal requirements with respect to annual general meeting. The second will be all the requirements with respect to extraordinary general meeting. And the third will be the general requirements with respect to the AGM or EGM. Now friends, let us move towards the annual general meeting. Now friends, as you can see, annual general meeting, this is section 96 of Companies Act 2013. Friends, annual general meeting is a meeting which every company needs to convene once in a calendar year. Means हर एक कंपनी के एक कैलेंडर ईयर में, कैलेंडर ईयर मीन्स जनवरी टू दिसंबर में एक AGM तो होनी चाहिए. Mainly in this annual general meeting, there is a discussion on all the affairs which were done in the annual year. But mainly four things needs to be done. That is, which I say in short as DADA. That is, directors, auditors, dividend and accounts. ये चार चीजें जो है उसके बारे में हमें डिस्कशन इसके अंदर एनुअल जनरल मीटिंग में करना ही पड़ता है. एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट वी आर ऑल्सो रिक्वायर्ड टू डिस्कस अदर थिंग्स connected with the financial year. So friends, let us have a look at this particular provisions with respect to annual general meeting. Now friends, to whom section 96 is applicable? Then as per section 96 is concerned, section 96 is applicable to all the types of companies except one-person company. Because what I believe is in one-person company there is only one member, and he need not to convey anything to any other. So as such per se, there is no need of convening a meeting. Second, it is mandatory for all other types of companies except an OPC to convene an AGM. And when you are convening an AGM, you need to comply with the requirements of section 96. Now friends, when we are moving towards the provisions of section 96, let me tell you कि हम क्या क्या डिस्कस करने वाले. तो पहले first we are going to discuss that provisions with respect to first AGM. Then we will discuss the provisions with respect to subsequent AGMs which have been done till the company is not dissolved. Third, the other provisions with respect to annual general meeting. So friends, now let us discuss with the requirements with respect to the legal requirements with respect to the notice. Then the law says that normally जैसे आप notice देते हो section 101 के मुताबिक, which we are going to see later on, all those requirement of section 101 with respect to notice is required to be complied here also. But apart from that, mainly the notice has to specify that this meeting is an annual general meeting, so that members come to know that this is that one meeting which is required to be done every year, and so if they wish, they can attend the same. Apart from that, all other requirements are one and the same. Now friends, mainly I want to discuss with you the provisions with respect to what is the time limit within which the first AGM of the company is required to be convened. What are the requirements with respect to every year subsequently the AGM needs to be convened. But before we discuss that, it is very pertinent to discuss at this juncture the definition of financial year. Friends, I think so this may be a revision because the definition and the concepts of financial year are already being discussed by us with you, by me with you in chapter number 1, which was preliminary, and that too the definition section 2 subsection 41. But still, let us again have a look at the provisions with respect to financial year. Financial year means the period for which financial statements of the company is made up. Financial year means period ending on 31st day of March every year. In case of a company incorporated on or after the first day of January, financial year means the period ending on 31st day of the March. Now it's very important to note, friends, of following year, not of that year, but of following year. To explain you this, let me, friends, come to one example. What will happen in this? So, for example, understand, if a company is incorporated on, as you can see on the screen, on 7th August 2018, then in that situation, the first financial year will end on 31st March 2019. Then the next will end on 31st March 2020. Then the next financial year, 31st March 2021, so on and so forth. But now, friends, it is very important to note that if the company is incorporated on 14th Feb 2019, then the first financial year will not end. You can see I have scratched out. It will not end on 31st March of that financial year, but it will end on the 31st March of the next financial year, that is 31st March 2020. Then onwards, 31st March 2021. Then onwards, 22. Then onwards, 23. So on and so forth, it will always end on 31st March. But this provision needs to be remembered only in case of the first financial year of a company. So friends, remember, if a company is incorporated in January or February or March, then the first financial year will end on the 31st March of the following financial year. And that's the reason the first financial year of a company, may be of 12 months or 13 months or 14 months or 15 months. But then the subsequent financial years will always be of 12 months. So friends, after having the conceptual clarity of this financial year, now let us move towards the provisions with respect to कि कोई भी कंपनी जो होती है उसे अपने लाइफ की यानी कि इनकॉर्पोरेशन के बाद की जो फर्स्ट एजीएम करनी होगी, द फर्स्ट एजीएम नीड्स टू बी कन्वीन, वो कब तक मीन्स अप टू व्हाट टाइम द सेम शुड बी कन्वीन्ड. फ्रेंड्स, इन द चैप्टर ऑफ auditor, you learn the provisions with respect to first auditor and subsequent auditor. Similarly, friends, this is now we are going to discuss the provisions with respect to the first AGM of a company post incorporation and then the subsequent AGMs of a company which needs to be convened with. So now, friends, let us have a look at the first AGM's provision, and then I'll explain you with the help of an example. First AGM, which is done once in a lifetime of a company, should be held within 9 months. Friends, remember, very important is 9 months of the end of the first financial year. मीन्स जब कोई भी कंपनी का इनकॉर्पोरेशन के बाद का फर्स्ट फाइनेंशियल ईयर जब एंड होता है, उसके 9 मंथ्स के अंदर उन्हें अपनी फर्स्ट एजीएम कर देनी होती है. इफ फर्स्ट एजीएम इज सो हेल्ड, देयर इज नो नीड टू कन्वीन द एजीएम in the year of incorporation. Let me, friends, try to make you understand this with the help of an example. Plus one more point. Registrar has no power to grant an extension to condone the delay if there is the delay in convening the first AGM. For example, कोई कंपनी है जिसका इनकॉर्पोरेशन 7 अगस्त 2018 को हुआ है, तो उसका जो कैलेंडर ईयर ऑफ इनकॉर्पोरेशन है वो है 2018. उसका फर्स्ट फाइनेंशियल कब एंड होगा? 31 मार्च 2019. व्हाट इज द टाइम लिमिट? 9 मंथ्स. तो 31 मार्च 2019 प्लस 9 मंथ्स कम्स टू 31 दिसंबर 2019. सो अगर कोई कंपनी का इनकॉर्पोरेशन 7 अगस्त 2018 को हुआ तो उसे अपनी फर्स्ट एजीएम कर देनी होगी 31 मार्च 2019 तक. अगर इससे ज्यादा डिले हुआ तो उस डिले को कंडोन नहीं किया जाएगा और पेनल्टी लगनी शुरू हो जाएगी. सो इफ देयर इज अ डिले, इट विल नॉट एट ऑल बी कंडोन एंड द पेनल्टी विल बी स्टार्टेड बीइंग levied. Second situation, if the company is incorporated on 14th Feb 2019. Then the calendar year is 2019, which is the date on which the first financial year ends. Then it's 31st March 2020. Add 9 months in it, and the date comes to 31st December 2020. So friends, this is how we calculate that how the first AGM is done. Now friends, let me just clarify more on this first example. That is, we know that in every year, in every calendar year, there should be one AGM. But friends, if you just notice on the very first example that the company is incorporated on 7th August, right? And the first AGM is done on, that can be done up to 31st December 2019. Then, if you follow this rule, there will be no AGM in the calendar year of incorporation, that is 2018. So the question arises, is this a breach or a violation of law? Then the answer is no. Law says that अगर आप ये फर्स्ट AGM की जो लिमिट है उसका पालन करते हो, and वो पालन, and by doing compliance of that, in case you are not doing any AGM in the calendar year of incorporation, even though the AGM is not held in the calendar year of incorporation, still you have done compliance with the provisions of the law. So friends, the law says calendar year of incorporation is 2018 and no AGM in it, the statutory limit is complied with. No issue even if no AGM in calendar year of incorporation. Then friends, the another provision comes is with respect to subsequent AGMs. यानी कि फर्स्ट AGM एक बार करते हो पर उसके बाद हर साल आपको AGM करनी पड़ेगी. तो what are the provisions with respect to that? उसके related क्या provisions है? AGM is to be held within 6 months from the close of relevant financial year. Second, one AGM and the another AGM means 2 subsequent AGMs. Between that, maximum gap should be of 15 months, not more than that. In every calendar year, there should be one AGM. Now, with respect to same provisions of AGM, there are 3 different rules. Then what to do? The 3 limits given above are cumulative. Means you have to do compliance of all the 3 limits, means you have to convene an AGM in a manner that all the three above limits are complied with. Friends, we will understand this in detail in interpretation of statutes chapter also, where this is known as rule of harmonious construction. Non-compliance with any of them would constitute an offence under the Companies Act 2013. Thus, the last date for holding AGM should be the earliest of the above given three limits. How we understand this? Let us take an example. As you can see on the screen, company was incorporated on 7th August 2018. It held its first AGM on 30th September 2019. So first AGM was done in time because first AGM करने की समय time limit was 31st December 2019. Specify the date up to which the second AGM ought to have been held. Now friends, let us look at the first rule. That first rule is one AGM in one calendar year. Now, first AGM was done in 2019. So 2019 के calendar year की AGM हो चुकी है. But you ask me, sir, what about the AGM of 2018? Then there was no need because it was a year of incorporation. So 2018, no need. 2019, it has been done. So the next calendar year is 2020. And calendar year 2020 की last date आती है 31st December 2020. So the first time limit is 31st December 2020. Second friends, second rule is एक AGM हो, right? उसके बाद हर फाइनेंशियल ईयर एंड हो, उसके 6 महीने के अंदर अंदर AGM हो जानी चाहिए. तो फ्रेंड्स आप समझ सकते हो कंपनी का फर्स्ट फाइनेंशियल ईयर था 2019 18-19. तो सेकेंड फाइनेंशियल ईयर कौन सा होगा 2019-20 प्लस 6 मंथ्स. सो 2020 वाला फाइनेंशियल ईयर एंड होगा 31st March 2020 प्लस 6 मंथ्स. सो द डेट कम्स 30th September 2020. एंड फ्रेंड्स द थर्ड रूल इज दो कॉन्जिक्यूटिव AGMs के बीच का जो टाइम लिमिट होगा, द टाइम लिमिट बिटवीन द टू कॉन्जिक्यूटिव AGMs should not exceed 15 months. So let's do one thing. What was the date on which the last AGM was done? 30th September. Add 15 months to it. Then the due date comes to 31st December 2020. From all of these three, try to apply cumulatively. Try to apply the rule of harmonious construction. Then we'll come to know A or B or C, whichever is earliest. And friends, in our example, it comes to 30th September 2020. So the subsequent AGM, and in our example, the second AGM of the company needs to be done, ought to have been held up to 30th September 2020. If it is being done, it is compliance. But in case if it is not done, then ROC has a power to grant an extension. That is, I mean to say, it may condone the delay on reasonable grounds, but ROC has a very limited, restricted power to condone the delay, that to up to 3 months only, not beyond that. So friends, if we try to juggle up and summarize the provisions with respect to first AGM and subsequent AGM in a comparative form, then you can say the time limit for the very first AGM was whenever company's first financial year ends within 9 months it shall be done. And with respect to subsequent AGM, the provisions were that one AGM in one calendar year, financial year end होता है, उसके 6 महीने में हो जानी चाहिए, एंड दो AGM के बीच का गैप मैक्सिमम 15 मंथ्स का होना चाहिए. तीनों टाइम लिमिट कैलकुलेट करो एंड whichever is earlier apply that. प्लस अगर कोई डिले हुआ तो फर्स्ट AGM होगी तो ROC के पास कोई पावर नहीं है. अगर सब्सिक्वेंट AGM होगी तो ROC has a power to condone on a special grounds, but that too maximum of 3 months. So now friends, let us discuss with certain remaining provisions with respect to annual general meeting. In that, the one is time, place and day of annual general meeting. Annual general meeting should be called during business hours, that is to be specific between 9 AM to 6 PM. So before 9 AM or after 6 PM, it should not be convened. Second is AGM can be called on any day, but that day should not be a national holiday. So AGM can be called on any day except a national holiday. National holiday means holiday means a national holiday as declared by central government, not the general holidays. An AGM should be held at the registered office of the company or some other place within the city, town or village in which the registered office of the company is situated. So friends, business hours के दरमियान, business working day के दिन register office पे हो पाए तो the AGM should be convened. Friends, अगर if company is not convening the AGM in time, then NCLT यानी कि tribunal also has a power to convene the AGM. Tribunal can convene the AGM suo motu or on a request being made by the members of the company. So, Section 97 applies where default is made in holding the AGM in accordance with Section 96. If AGM is not held as per provisions of Section 96, any member of a company may apply to NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal. The tribunal, if deems fit, may call a general meeting or direct the calling of general meeting, which shall be deemed to be annual general meeting of a company. And the tribunal may give such other instructions, directions, which it deems fit, including the direction that one member present in person or proxy shall be the quorum. Normally friends, when we will discuss the provisions of quorum in section 103, we will see that proxy is not counted in quorum. Quorum means friends, minimum number of members required to commence a general meeting. But when the tribunal calls a general meeting, then even if one member is present, that too, even if it is present in proxy, that will be constituted as quorum. So friends, these are the provisions with respect to annual general meeting. And the last thing is, central government has a power that if it deems fit, it may exempt the requirements of section 96(2) with respect to annual general meeting from certain type of companies. But whenever central government wants to give this kind of exemption, a notification is required to be passed by way of notification in Official Gazette of India. So friends, all these are the provisions with respect to annual general meeting. So friends, now let us understand the second important aspect of the meetings for a part, that is the extraordinary general meeting. Friends, what I mean to say by the extraordinary general meeting is, one AGM is already being done. The next AGM is to be done in the next year. But in between the two annual general meetings, if a situation arises for which a resolution needs to be passed, but we cannot wait for the next AGM for that resolution to be passed, then in between the two AGMs, a general meeting or general meetings are convened. And in my understanding, between two AGMs, all the GMs, general meetings which are being done, are known as extraordinary general meeting. Or in a very simplified manner, a general meeting which is other than AGM is always EGM. And friends, whatever discussion you do in extraordinary general meeting are always special business under section 102 of Companies Act 2013. So friends, now we are going to discuss all the provisions with respect to extraordinary general meeting. Friends, extraordinary general meeting के provisions है, उसमें तीन चीजों की बात की गई है. One is the EGM which is convened by Board of Directors suo motu. The another is when the EGM is convened by Board of Directors but on the requisition, on the request of member or members. And the third is friends, when the EGM is convened by NCLT, that is National Company Law Tribunal. Hereinafter in this provisions we will tell it as tribunal. So whenever in Companies Act 2013 when the word tribunal is used and a reference is not given to any other tribunal, then the tribunal means National Company Law Tribunal, that is NCLT. Now friends, let us have a look at the EGM, that how an EGM is convened on the requisition of members. Then friends, members has to give a request to the company. So which are the members who are eligible to give the request? So if the company is with share capital, then कोई भी member, एक member, any member or a group of members, you can see it is member or members, holding minimum 1/10 of share capital, यानी कि 10% share capital, may make a request to board of directors, means may make a request to company. That is known as requisition, and the EGM will be convened. And if in case the company is without share capital, that is, take an example of Section 8 company or company limited by guarantee without share capital. So in that situation, कोई भी member, any member or members who is holding minimum 1/10 of share capital. In that, instead of share capital, it will be the voting power. 1/10 of voting power. Then in that situation, you can say he can make a request, and on his requisition, the meeting will be convened. So friends, bear in mind, board of directors may convene EGM anytime they want, but when a request is made, then there is a time limit involved. Then when a request is made, within 21 days, the arrangement needs to be done. From the date of request, within 45 days, the EGM needs to be done. It is 45 days, not after 21 days. It is 45 days from the date of requisition. And अगर जिस दिन requisition आया, उसके 45 days में अगर board of directors ने EGM नहीं बुलाई, तो जो requisition आया था, उसके 3 months के अंदर अंदर, additional 3 months नहीं है, requisition आया उसके 3 months के अंदर अंदर, आप यानी कि requisitionists, यानी कि the persons, the members who have made a request may themselves convene the EGM. So again, recapitulating you the time limit, then we will also see a graphical display of same. The day on which the valid requisition is lodged, from that 21 days, the arrangement needs to be done. From there, within 45 days, the EGM shall be held. And from there, if 45 days EGM is not held, from there, within 3 months, the EGM is to be done by requisitionists themselves. So friends, now let us see the provisions with respect to the same. What are the important points with respect to a valid request which is being made by a member or members to the company? If a request is not valid, then company will not convene the EGM. So for the requisition to be valid, this essential elements needs to be looked out. The requisition shall specify the matters for consideration of which EGM is to be called. The requisition shall be valid even if it does not specify the reasons for matter proposed to be considered. So matter बताना जरूरी है. You have to specify the matters. There is no need of specifying the reasons behind the same. So if reasons are not specified and if the company rejects the requisition, then it is absolutely invalid. This was being held in a judgment of LIC versus Escorts Limited. The requisition shall be signed by all the requisitionists or a requisitionist duly authorized by all other requisitionists. Means all requisitionists or the power of attorney holder of all requisitionists. The requisition shall be deposited at the registered office of the company. The requisition must make the requisition in writing, or it can also be served by electronic mode. The requisition shall be sent in writing or electronic mode. The requisitionist may propose a date of holding the EGM, but the requisition shall be deposited at least 21 days before such proposed date for holding the EGM. The reason is board of directors required 21 days time period to make arrangements and also to serve the notice of extraordinary general meeting. Now friends, what if the EGM is convened by board of directors on requisition of shareholders? Then on receipt of a valid requisition, the board shall within 21 days proceed to call an EGM to be held within 45 days from the date of deposit of requisition. The notice shall be given to those members whose name appears in the register of member within 3 days of receipt of valid requisition. So friends, arrangement needs to be made within 21 days. And EGM needs to be convened by board of directors on requisition of members within 45 days. Remember friends, not after 21 days. Those 45 days are from the date of deposit of valid request. So the day on which a valid request is deposited, from that 21 days are for arrangement, and from that day 45 days are for convening the EGM. But if board of directors fails to call an EGM, it may be called by the requisionists, the persons who have made request karta themselves as under.